Just a couple of guys, a couple microphones, and a heck of a lot of know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me, there's Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Odos? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. We are ready to go here, and thanks for tuning in.
You know what? I'm cold,
You're
so I
told.
decided to
You're
wear
cold.
this. Yeah, well, I was almost ashamed to even just wear the hoodie, though. Like,
Why?
I just was ashamed even just to wear this sometimes.
You're a
the way
Giants
the
fan.
Giants have been playing lately.
You know what?
You know,
I
it was
appreciate-
just so cold, so I decided to wear it
I
anyways.
really appreciate the fact that you wore it regardless.
Right.
Because
I'm
there are
being
a lot
proud.
of fake fans out there that won't. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
Given the times that the Giants are in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Think about fake fans. What about that fan for the San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers here, that all the memes are going around about? It's funny stuff. But yeah.
Most
thanks
animated fan award goes to...
Yeah, absolutely. So, Joe, yeah, it's been another crazy week again. You know, a lot of ups and
Hey.
downs, and hey,
You know what? You know what's one good thing is we didn't hear a whole lot about Taylor Swift.
no, we didn't.
So that's
you know,
nice.
and
That's
the
a
fact
plus.
that we just brought it up again. Yeah,
That we can
it's
move
nuts,
on
but-
with that.
Yeah, and that stuff's just super annoying. I get
You know what?
it's
You know what
annoying.
bothers me about like the big media out there is the fact that like they cover the dumbest shit every week.
Yeah.
Like the whole TS thing, and and Travis and all that. Like that didn't even need to be brought up, but they went out of their way to make it a big deal for 2 weeks straight. So let's get to football because that's what it's all about. We are going to talk about, a little bit of a review on Week 6 games and what transpired last week, and then we're going to get right into our picks. If there's anything that you guys want to let us know about, or if you guys want to talk about anything, feel free to do so right down below. Hit that comment section. Let us know that you're here, that you're alive. If you got a question, or if there's something that you want to bring up that you might want us to discuss, feel free to do so. And as well, if you're new to the show or you're not new and you want to help us grow this community of ours, please do so. Head over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button for us, hit the notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. And of course, you can follow us anywhere you get your podcasts.
All right, well done, Joe. Yeah, I mean, again, crazy week. A lot of injuries by the quarterbacks, though, this week, though, too, as well. We
Yeah.
saw a lot of them leave the game early. One of the biggest surprises for me, though, here, really, when I'm, watching the games early on, is really the Cleveland Browns and taking down the San Francisco 49ers. I think the biggest headlines of that this past week has got to be the fact that the undefeateds are, now defeated and undefeated no more. There are no more undefeated teams anymore. They're both taken down. Brock Purdy, throw his first interception here, and the winning streak is over now. So, and it's the
Right.
Cleveland Browns, the most unlikely team, just because I would say the fact that PJ Walker ended up starting the game.
Right.
We said last week that don't be surprised if this game is a lot closer than
yeah.
you think, because especially that, with their new defensive coordinator here, they are a tough defense. They're number one ranked in the NFL right now, and it goes to show you why, what they did here last week to the 49ers.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns defense, I mean, kudos to them. I mean, this is now the time where we know they're actually a for real defense, because they played one of the toughest teams in the league in the 49ers, and they were able to slow down, to flat out stop at times this impressive offense that we know. The Cleveland Browns, definitely one of the top 5, like you said, number 1 in the league on defense, and rightfully so. Like, this is the team that we thought coming into the season where we had expectations for them, but we weren't quite sure what we were going to get offensively. And now that we're getting a little bit of feedback with Watson, we're starting to see him come out of his shell in terms of production and playing better than last year. Obviously, he wasn't in this game because due to injury, but it sounds like he's getting close to coming back. We're just not sure if this is the week he will. But the Cleveland Browns defense has been able to hold it down for them. And hold it down so much that they were able to upset the San Francisco 49ers. So that is a truly tremendous thing for the Browns and something they can, hang their hat on going into the next week. Now, for the Browns, whether you have Watson or not going into next week, don't let this go to your head, because we've seen this happen before where a team has a huge win over someone that nobody thought they were going to beat. And then the very next week, they just kind of give the game away.
Absolutely, Joe. We've got our first comment in there. It's Raider Bear. Raider Bear's in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Bear?
There he is.
Welcome to the show, bro.
Yeah, absolutely. What does he got? What's he got?
Yeah,
What's he got
he
to
goes,
say?
sup, Raider Bear. I think the fall of Brock Purdy is about to begin. The sophomore slump is real. Dak Prescott, RG3, lots of rookies start fast. Defenses don't have tape on them to study year 2. They study at then the quarterback sucks. Sharing the show, not.
Oh, man. Burned by the Raider Bear. First time in a long time.
Man.
And he's out there. But,
Welcome back,
he makes
bro.
some
Appreciate
sense there,
it.
too. And that's one thing that I guess has stood out here after all this. You see Debo and Christian McCaffrey go down, and now without, even the weapons
With
here.
their big weapons, yeah.
The big difference. And even Trent Williams, for that matter, too, right there at the
Yep.
offensive line's
Yep, he
position.
was
People
done, too.
forgot about that, too, as well.
Right.
But also, at least in one of the interceptions there too, when I think it was Brandon Ayuk had it in his hands and tipped and it went flying back for the pick.
Right.
And they're not all on them too as well. But hey, any quarterback that gets pressured and things like that and told kind of to think fast before they really want to is going to make the mistakes.
Raider Bear corrects himself and said, misspelling it, LOL, sharing now. Appreciate you, Bear. Appreciate you so much, man. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely. There he is.
Hashtag know-it-alls.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then we have our very own Paul Maddie chiming
Maddie's
in.
in the house with us.
Playland Beach in the house.
Yes, absolutely. There he is, Playa Linda Beach, and it says Facebook user again for some reason. I don't get it, but
he's got to, get
there's a link.
accepted
I'm
into-
pretty sure in the chat, you guys. You click the link and then you can let your name be known and things like that, and so you can see your photos.
And we're not really sure, if there's a box that pops up for everybody in the chat, allowing us and everyone else to see your likeness and your name in the comment section. So if there is a box popping up, there's a little link. Just click on that, and that allows permission, I guess, to show your name and likeness. We got Glenn Medina in the house eating lunch, Bear.
He's eating lunch. So he's letting everybody know. Yes, that he's eating lunch, right?
Just wanted to pop in quickly and say hi.
All
Appreciate
right.
you, Paul.
Yeah, no problem.
Appreciate
No
you,
problem.
man.
Absolutely.
We know who it is because he said Playland
Because he
Beach.
said Playa Linda Beach. If you're a know-it-all this much and you keep showing up here, we know where you live even at this point. So there you go. You know what I mean? That's how much we follow you guys as well. But yeah, 49ers, they couldn't do anything right after that. And, it was a tight game. But, this came up. But you know what? It was a game they still could have won, though. But Moody, you're right there. You got your setup for
man.
that shot. It's a chip shot at this point.
Dude, it
and
is so crazy.
He should
how
have,
short
with
that was.
him, should have been able to make that field goal and really win the game. You know
He
what I'm
should have made
saying?
it blindfolded, for God's sakes. Like you just said, it was so close. It really was. It was like an extra point. Like, how do you not finish the job? That's your whole job as a kicker. Like, those are the moments you look forward to. Like, I'm going to win this for my team. And for him to not only be super close to kick that, but also just to flat out miss it. I mean, that's unexcusable.
Yeah, Glenn says, "Hey guys, new here. Raider Bear said hello, so I responded, "Yay, absolutely,
Appreciate
no problem.
it, Glenn.
We welcome you here."
Yes.
Thanks for
Hashtag
tuning in, man.
know-it-alls.
All
Listen,
right.
guys, and for anybody that is new here, how we like to do our show is like you guys comment down below. We'll interact with you guys as much as possible, and we're going to talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. Like, we're open. We have our own. Obviously, we got to talk about the games, but if you guys have anything new or anything, any bit of news that you want to share, go for it.
Absolutely, we're open to whatever you guys want down there. So it looks like Raider Bear is sharing
Raider
some more.
He's bringing in some
to
of
more
Raider
people,
Nation.
So I love it. I love
Bringing
it.
in the
Absolutely.
Raider Nation hard here.
Michael Guerrero's in the house with us tonight too. Man, it's been a while since I saw
Guerrero.
Michael
I haven't seen
Guerrero.
him in a while. Great show, guys. Go Raiders.
Absolutely.
The nation is
Nation.
here.
It is. Yeah, they're showing up here. But yeah, if you're a kicker at this point too, when you're asked upon to do those, I mean, you got to be able to make those types of the plays.
Oh,
you know
for
what
sure.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's your
you're
only
expected to.
job.
Yeah.
It should be there, especially at the NFL level.
Right.
But that was a close game.
was a good
Defensive.
game, though.
Jim Schwartz. Now I think he's undefeated still against when he runs a defense against Kyle Shanahan. So it goes to show you sometimes. And not only that, if you want to look at that game, and then we'll go right into the Eagles game with the Jets, where they always told you the defense wins championships. And let me tell you, the defense stepped up this past week here and took down the undefeated teams with those two teams that we thought were both the top of the NFC at this point.
And just got to say this, kudos to the Jets because they were without Sauce Gardner too, on top of it all. So for the Jets to do what they were able to do against Philly's offense and stop them and make them, confused a lot of the times and getting tons of pressure. We did bring that up last week about how the Jets defensive line is one of the best D lines, and they were going to that was going to be the matchup. That was going to be the whole enchilada in that game is the trenches. Can the offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles stop the Jets defensive line? And we saw a lot of pressure being, invented and created by the Jets defensive line, and the secondary and the linebacking core was absolutely sideline to sideline, making plays, batting balls away, making it very difficult for Jalen Hurts to throw and to fit those balls into tight windows. So kudos to the Jets. I mean, they played amazing defensively, and they had to, right? And then you look at the offense. Zach Wilson. Hey, Zach Wilson didn't play that bad. He didn't lose the game for them, didn't make, big-time mistakes that would cost them, a chance to win that game. And honestly, he had a couple of nice, well-thrown balls to Garrett Wilson on the sideline, and they did enough to pull out the win and get a major upset against the Eagles.
Yep, absolutely. And we've got a comment down
we got
here.
Joel
It says,
Irons, Raider Bear supporter, Raider Nation for life, he says. What are your thoughts with Hunter Renfrow, lack of usage? With his contract, he is a hard player to trade. You're absolutely correct, Joel. And the thing is, for me, I'm a Raiders fan as well. We've been following this whole situation with Hunter Renfrow for quite some time now, and honestly, the lack of usage, there's no excuse if you're a Raiders fan or if you're even part of the Raiders staff. Like, Hunter Renfrow is a former Pro Bowl slot receiver. Like, there's no chance you don't play him more. So for his lack of usage, it's inexcusable for Josh McDaniels, who's supposed to be this big offensive guru, but we're not seeing it. Like, the red zone offense is absolutely atrocious. You're not being able to score more than you can't even score 20 points as an offense. Like this past game, they got to 20 points or 21 points because of a safety. That's why, not the offense. So they still have yet to score 20 points. Josh McDaniels and his offense is inept. And when you're not utilizing one of your best weapons in Hunter Renfrow, it boggles your mind as a football fan or a coach out there. And with your question about his contract, he's making a lot of money for a guy that's not playing, and that's going to make it kind of hard to trade him even. So week 8 trade deadline is approaching us rapidly. We know that we've heard reports out of Las Vegas that they are in fact have him on the trade block. They are in fact looking to try to trade him, and they were doing this last year. So I don't know if they're going to ever get a trade consummated and done, but because of that contract, but it's something to definitely keep an eye on, because up to this point, the Raiders offense is not only struggling, but it is just completely different this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at his contract going into the 2024 season, he's set to make almost $12 million next year. So that's why you're thinking that they should try and move him here before week 8. If you're not going to use them. I mean, and that's the thing. And that's a big surprise about it, though, too, is the fact that when you saw Josh McDaniels go to this team and you're thinking, too, of what he's trying to set around them, even getting Jimmy G and whatnot, you already see that Hunter Renfrow, all right, he's really short and scrappy and great route runner. It just fits kind of that mold you thought that Josh McDaniels would love. And he would be one of those guys that he would just use all over the place. And it's not. You're seeing a lot of the balls going to Jacoby Myers. even a good amount. Understand that Devontae Adams, they're trying to double him and try and get him out of the game, eliminate that, and that's going to force the ball to go somewhere else. But Jakobi Meyers is your other option here. I'm surprised that he's not getting that involved in this offense here.
Well, Jakobi Meyers, to be fair, was the guy that they had to go get. They needed another wide receiver in their minds, and they went after Jakobi Meyers, who is a nice complement to Adams. But Renfrow is your slot guy, and that guy should be out there all the time as much as possible. And the fact that they've kind of taken him, really just ripped him out of the starting lineup, kind of makes you think about how smart is McDaniels. Because when you have a weapon like that and you're not utilizing him, and your offense is struggling, knock on wood, what are you thinking? So I don't know what Renfrow's future is as a Raider going forward. We're going to find out really quickly. But the thing of it all is, his base salary right now is $6.5 million, right? Roster bonus is $4 million. He's going to get that no matter what. It's a guarantee. And then other than that, his dead cap money, his cap savings is going to be $5 million, but the dead money is really what's going to kill the Raiders if they try to trade him. $18 million. You can't do it. You just can't trade this guy. Contractually, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to move on from Hunter Renfrow. So we're going to monitor this as Week 8 approaches, but nonetheless, we'll see what they do going forward.
All right, we got Raider Bear again in the
house.
house.
So the Aaron Rodgers is a Mercedes with 257,000 miles on it and 2 accidents. And the other Jets quarterback, Zach, looks like a Power Ranger and is known more for dating MILFs than anything he's done on the field.
Yeah,
Maybe right, but hey, the Jets are a 500 team right now with Zach Wilson, and it's something to be said. We all know that he's wasn't supposed to be the starter this year. Wasn't even supposed to sniff the field.
Yeah.
But hey, Rodgers goes down after 4 snaps. Zach Wilson is there. He's the guy that they want to work with going forward, even after Rodgers apparently is gone. But we'll see what happens. Listen, he hasn't made any huge strides by far, but he's made small baby steps into the right direction. So again, he's they're still trying to develop him as a Jet quarterback. And while they wait for Rodgers, it might be next year we see Rodgers, but now there's all these other reports out of New York saying he has a legitimate chance to be the fastest healing human ever with an ACL and come back towards the end of the year. I don't know if it's possible, but hey, if they're talking about it now, maybe it is. Obviously, we'll wait and see if that actually happens. And
he's injecting himself with reptile DNA or something like that. He's growing appendages all over again. That's what
honestly,
it is.
he even said in an interview that he's doing other methods.
Yeah.
That is not.
It's traditional. Right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. He's
so,
going out of its reach.
So
yeah. Who knows?
For the 2 weeks he's going to go away to California, I guess, while they're on their bye week.
Yeah.
And he's going to go to California. Now, in California, I don't know what they're doing to him, but he's doing something. And who knows? Maybe this could be a whole new thing if Aaron Rodgers would be able to come back that quickly on an ACL tear.
Yeah.
Other players might be hitting up Aaron Rodgers for some advice.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, it is crazy. But with Zach Wilson too, it's funny you bring up even the fact that he MILF date or whatever. They are joking around that since the Kelsey's mom has been to the games too. He's been winning, so he won those games. So it's kind of funny. They're maybe hitting around.
I have to agree with Raider Bear right here.
What's up?
Just commenting is Josh McDaniels is an offensive coordinator, and his coaching is offensive to watch. It absolutely is.
I love it.
Absolutely. Oh. And then Joel Irons comes in. He goes, "What's your Super Bowl matchup prediction this year?" Honestly, there's a lot of things that can change. A lot of variables that always happen every single year where we don't see coming. So typically, we don't like to do a prediction of a Super Bowl matchup because obviously you have injuries that come into play. You have some teams get better as down the stretch and other teams kind of fade out of favor. So it'll be interesting. I mean, honestly, obviously the true favorites, right? The 49ers, the Eagles from the NFC, and the AFC is kind of really like jumbled up, like really, like it's almost like a car jam of talented teams that
Well,
could
you've
vie
even seen it now,
for,
right up
for an
until this
opportunity.
week, that even the lowest team, or you think that is almost a definite win for some of these other ones, they've pulled out victories.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Whoever thought, again, I don't think anybody picked the Cleveland Browns to win this game. And they did.
I
what I'm
unless
saying?
you're a diehard Browns
right,
fan.
unless you're a diehard Browns fan and you believe in everything in PJ Walker. So it goes to show you that even week to week, you're not sure.
Right.
For me, even to take a stab at it, at least at this point in the season, you got to think that still the 49ers are in it, despite some of the injuries or whatever. They'll still come back healthy by the end of the
that's
season. It's
easy,
still
yeah.
good. So you got to say 49ers. And on the AFC side, right now it's up and down with a lot of these different AFC teams, but I think still tried and true, especially with the way the coaching has been. And the talent, I still like even, the Dolphins, what they're doing. So if you want to do a quick prediction here, I'll just say
Right now.
49ers, Dolphins right now at this point, it looks like.
Yeah,
And
I mean-
I would love to see that, though, too. When was
Yeah.
the last time we saw the Dolphins in a Super Bowl? You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
and even the 49ers at that point, back in the 80s and things. But I'm excited about it.
Honestly, like the Niners to me are the biggest favorite for the NFC, because you look at their roster and when they're healthy, they are pretty much, one of those unbeatable teams. You know what I mean? That's how they're seen. And then the Eagles, they are not the same as they were a year ago. Like we're not seeing the same execution on offense. The defense is still playing well, but it's like, where's the points on the offensive side? So that's kind of where the disadvantage is. So I could see Niners easily in the NFC. And then AFC, like Jim mentioned, like Miami is hot right now. Like their defense, and they're getting healthier. Jalen Ramsey comes back this week, it sounds like. His 21-day window opened up to return. So if they get him back and they get this team start to get healthier on the back end of the defense, like this Dolphins team could potentially not only make a run in the playoffs, but they could perhaps get to the Super Bowl, which would be incredible. It'd be a different team to see, and how their offense is very explosive. That's the other thing that would be fun to watch too.
Yeah, I mean, and bringing up the Eagles again, we were just talking about the Jets and the Eagles and that game in particular. On that last play, just about, if you want to call it the last play, with the nail in the coffin. How are you throwing that ball if you're Jalen Hurts? Seriously, it's third down to go, and to go long. Yeah, you got to try and get that first down, but you're in the lead right now, holding it by a decent. Like the Jets, really traditionally, they had to march the whole field. Basically, you punt that ball away. So you're just trying to kill time at this point. He could have took off with his legs. Definitely, if you're not going to make the first down, whatever, because then they got to burn even the last time out, even if they had time. I want to say they had one left, but they were in a bad situation. And there was only, less than 2 minutes left, and to throw that, to force the ball in there, it was just the dumbest thing ever. And how do you do that? You're not going to be a Super Bowl contender when you make mistakes like that. And there you go. You suffered poorly for it. So.
Yeah. The other thing too is, like, I know everybody is going to say, oh, well, Kansas City, they're going to be a favorite. Everyone wants to bring them up, but Kansas City's almost like Philly right now. Kansas City is not the same Chiefs team we saw a year ago either. Like their receiving core is a little bit different. The way they call their offensive plays, and there's some similarities there, but they're again not this super offensive powerhouse like we're used to be seeing, from last season. The Chiefs also are a little bit different on defense. They're not the same. They lost some key free agents, and it's showing. So they're another team where, even though they are a big favorite, I don't consider them that big of a favorite. When you look at the rest of this AFC, they legit look like, it looks like we said, like it's like a car jam, and everybody's trying to get in. But so AFC is going to be very difficult, I feel like, as the season progresses, to figure out. And then we've also had teams where we thought that we're going to be easily like in the playoff race, but they're also not looking, extremely well. So going forward, it's going to be interesting to see how this all unveils. It's a long season. We still got the whole second half of it to go. So it's going to be something to watch. We got some more comments here. Joe Lyons goes, Super Bowl in Las Vegas this year. It's clear that the Raiders organization is winning financially, and I hope that transfers to affording top players going forward. And then Brandon Degener goes, KC losing Juju really hurt. Oh, KC losing Juju? Okay. You know what, Brandon? I'm not 100% sure about that. Juju wasn't like the ultimate go-to for the Chiefs, even in his time there. Yes, he was a guy that was more of that possession receiver, would move the chains from time to time and that sort of thing. But like really, if they don't have guys like Travis Kelce, if they don't have some of the other players like MVS, even Valdez-Scantling last season was doing way better for the Chiefs offense than this year. So it was a overall kind of like a team approach in that receiving unit last year. As far as them losing Juju, I don't think it necessarily hurts them as much as
they just
some people
grabbed
may
Nicole
think.
Hardman back now too, though.
But they did trade for Nicole Hardman, which they swapped draft picks to get him.
They don't lose anything on that because really, I mean, they hear he knows the system, everything. He fits right in. And he was a big playmaker for them too, as another option for that team. Back when he was there. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't to Kelce or those guys, he's just plug and play.
And doesn't this show you that the Chiefs are a little worried? It does. It does me. If they're already trying to trade for weapons, bringing Nicole Hardman back is a very common sense type of move. But I don't necessarily think this is going to be the answer to everything. So Nicole Hardman is
common sense before. Now they have common sense.
is as fast as Nicole Hardman is. Like even his time as a Chiefs, he was like a very spotty receiver. So we'll see how that all transpires, going forward. I know they like they're kind of in love with Rashee Rice right now, and they like his progression as a receiver. So we'll see how that.
One thing is funny about that too is how underutilized he was used, like for the Jets. I thought saw more of him like on the field.
No, they didn't use him.
It's crazy.
That's why he was expendable.
Oh, I know, but I just think it's weird. I thought he would had a place in that offense somewhere.
Apparently not when you have Randall Cobb and
right?
and Alan Lazard. Apparently
right?
Those are the favorites.
They were it. I think it's funny. He didn't find a spot for him out there, but we definitely appreciate the comments, you guys. Definitely keep them coming. We appreciate it. We love the conversation. That was probably the biggest headlines out of this past week here with those two things happening. What a game too, the Philly game and the Jets, man.
Awesome game.
It was awesome.
I loved watching that game. It was so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got to bring attention to the Saints game. Like
sure.
Saints at Houston. Are you kidding me? Like, listen, I mean, we talked about it last week about how Houston had how much this young team, driven by CJ Stroud as a rookie quarterback, is excelling past a lot of expectations. And offensively is putting points on the board. Defensively is stopping teams and making it very difficult to move the ball on them.
Yeah.
And they've been a pleasant surprise in the NFL. And going up against the Saints, and this is not your same New Orleans Saints that we normally see, where it's high scoring points. This defense is tenacious after they get the lead and everything. This is a team where, uncharacteristically, their offense is not that high scoring right now. It seems like they're having issues up front with protection, and the defense is still good. The defense is still there, but all in all, like this was one hell of a game. I mean, the Saints, they did whatever they could to try to keep it close and try to have a chance to win at the end. But the Houston Texans, man, getting the ball at the end, driving down, and being able to score to win. Kudos to them. Like this was a litmus test that we called it last week, and we're seeing Houston is actually on the rise, and they no longer have a problem.
Yeah, I think they're for real now. You got to really take them for real. I always, not a contender for the Super Bowl.
No,
but you got to
shocking?
believe in what they're doing.
Isn't it surprising on how fast this team has turned around, and what a great job by the front office of Houston to be able to draft the players that they drafted, to be able to pull off some crazy trades last offseason.
Yep.
Get the job done, and then along with that, signing some key free agents, and this team, which was a laughing stock, now you can't really laugh at them right now. Like they are a young and dangerous up-and-coming team led by D'Amico Ryans.
Yeah, absolutely. And we said it, like you said last week. I'm like, don't be surprised if Houston does win this. And we did pick the Saints here, but we only gave them the benefit of the doubt. But we just said, hey, don't be surprised if Houston really pulls this out, especially at home. And they did not, surprise us at all. There they were. Boom.
Right.
They did not, discount. So yeah, kudos to them. What a good game here. They win 20-13. Jacksonville and Indianapolis. Jacksonville does take care of business at home.
By a landslide
for them. Yeah,
man. Gardner Minshew looked terrible.
Yeah,
he looked terrible.
Yeah,
I mean, he was just throwing straight up to the opposing team. Like it wasn't even like close to the receiver. He just threw it to the safety, threw it to the corner. Like.
Just key things with some of these games though here too. As long as Jacksonville right now, it's limited practice here for Trevor Lawrence with the sprained knee, but
he's questionable.
He's questionable right now to go tomorrow night. So we'll keep following that closely to see if he's going to start.
Here's my thing with the questionable thing: when you get a questionable tag in the night before the game, usually that means that they're most likely they're going to be out.
Yeah.
So. It's probably going to be one of those things where it's going to be a game time decision. They're going to test Trevor Lawrence out in pregame warmups and then make a call there.
Yeah, and they did sign somebody to their practice squad, but if he's not
Nathan Rourke?
Nathan Rourke. But if he's not going to go, it's going to be good old C.J. Beathard there, taking the helm here for him.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll follow that closely. Ryan Tannehill leaves the game early in that game, so that made that game a little offset here with Baltimore pulling out the victory. But I think we got a couple good games moving up this next week that's going to be really, really nice to watch. And how about Detroit? And this is the thing. I said it about Detroit last week. I'm like, they're showing that they're an offensive powerhouse here and what they were kind of starting off with last year.
Yeah.
Defense matching it just as much. So Tampa Bay, a team that I thought was, going to do okay here. And Baker Mayfield surprisingly has done a little better than I thought here with them. But this was a game that they definitely had to be able to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, especially at home, and they showed out. They just destroyed the shit out of them, and then here you go. They did what they should have done, and now you got to think that the Detroit Lions, you definitely got to be believers in what they're doing right now too as well.
I mean, I hope so. I mean, they've proven it time and time again. They're 5-1. They're beating the teams that they're expected to beat, and they're also beating the teams that people don't expect them to beat. So they're putting it all together, offense, defense, and they're getting healthier too, which is kind of even more dangerous, is the fact that they've been able to do some of the things on defense without a guy by the name of Tyrell Walker, at the safety position. He's been out for quite some time, and now he returned this past week. It's just this team continues to get better health-wise and execution-wise, and they are a dangerous team to keep an eye out on for this division in the NFC, for them going forward into the playoffs.
Absolutely. Hey, and let's bring up how about the Sunday night game here with the New York Giants and the Buffalo Bills? How about the Giants keeping it close and leading throughout the game?
For the majority,
So there's a few different storylines in this one. How about them being able to, in that defense, and keep Buffalo Bills from really scoring through 3.5, maybe 4, right to the fourth quarter? Yeah. And the fact that they were battling the officials the whole game. Like, whenever they got a penalty against them, a lot of it, especially for the defensive holding or, roughing the passer, was nowhere near any of that, you know what I mean? And then it came down to the end. They still had a chance to win at the end of the game, and they do not call the pass interference here in the end zone to give them even another shot to win. And they just, walk off, act like it's no big deal. But, no matter what, everybody's coming out, and now the NFL is probably going to say, oh, yeah, you know what, they were wrong in that one. Yeah, it was pass interference. Oops.
Congratulations.
Nothing really happens with that.
No,
outcome.
It doesn't.
Doesn't change the outcome at all. Even Tom Brady comes out and even complains about the officiating in that game.
Which is hilarious, right?
It was.
It's hilarious for a guy that used to get all the calls.
He used to get all the calls, isn't it? Hilarious. Now he can now. He can complain. He's not buddies even with some of the ones. Some of those guys have even retired since. What I mean? So he doesn't have to worry about it so much.
I mean, about that game right there in itself is like, wow. That's all I have to say is wow. Wow. Not only were the refs bad in it, like both ways, but that one critical call, that was a game-changing call to not call. So should have been a pass interference 110%. Like I watched that play 2 or 3 times, and I'm just like, I don't see from their point of view like how that could not be pass interference. The corner never looked for the ball, never made one effort to find the ball, to make a play on the ball, and just flat out ran over Darren Waller like in the end zone. I could not fathom that they did not throw a flag. Nobody threw a flag. None of them. Like not even one of them.
Discuss it.
Not even one of them to throw the flag and be like, oh, let's get together and talk about this. You know what I mean? Figure it out. Nothing. Like nobody flinched. So that was a critical point in the game that deserved to be called the right way, and it wasn't. And that could have changed. That could have altered the outcome. Waller scores there. You know what I mean? Or like, okay, even if they call pass interference and now they're right up there at the goal line and they punch it in. Now that changes everything. Now all the pressure's on the Bills. And, you know, what's going to happen after that? The Giants could have sneakily won this game, but the refs had other ideas.
Yeah, it was very odd at times. But you know what? The Giants don't need exactly help from the refs to lose games either as well, because we even saw the debacle that happened right there before halftime, Joe, when Tyrod Taylor made the audible here and decided to run the football when there's only like 12 seconds left in the game, in a half here. And then nobody even rushed to the line or whatever. You know, they were getting laid on a little bit, but so no urgency. But the audible screwed it all up. If they come out of there even with 3 points right now, and I know it's tough because the rest of the game played out the way it did. We're not knowing what would happen. But say you tack on those 3 points right now, then it's 12-14, and maybe the Giants didn't need that. They didn't need the touchdown there. Kick the field goal, boom, they win. You know what I mean? So things like that, in those type of situations, you got to think smart. And why is Tyrod Taylor doing the audible here? And we saw Brian Dable go off on him there.
It was nuts. So there was confusion between Tyrod Taylor and the offensive play caller, Mike Kafka. That play that was called was a option play, and it shouldn't have been an option. So Mike Kafka, to me, called the wrong play. You should not have given an option. It should have been a straight-up pass.
Yeah.
And if it's not there, you throw it out of the back of the end zone, and you can still live to kick a field goal. That's not what happened. So when Daboll, like you alluded to, flips out, why did we hand off the ball? You see him turn to Kafka and screams at him, and Kafka's like, I don't know why you're yelling at me. He's the one that did it. You know what I mean? Now Kafka's pointing the finger at Tyrod Taylor. Oh no, but he handed it off. It was an option play. Why was it an option play? It should not have been. And you're right. The blame does fall on Tyrod Taylor as well because it is just a bonehead play. The game time, the situation that you're in as a quarterback, you got to know, I cannot audible this ball to be I cannot audible this play to be a run because time's going to expire right before half. So he should have been smart enough and said, hey, I'm not going to audible to a run. I don't care what they're lined up in. We're going to take this and we're going to try to throw it and try to get a touchdown. If it's not there, I'm going to throw it away. And that should have been it. But because, Tyrod Taylor had a brain fart, because Mike Kafka had a brain fart in the play calling, and then Daboll is losing his mind over everything, it was just a big miscommunication from quarterback to the offensive coordinator. And Daboll was correct in his reaction because it is not just, not just a terrible mistake, but this is simple, fundamental football. Like this should never happen. It should never happen like this. Your quarterback should be smart enough to be like, well, I can't hand it off. And he wasn't. I understand he's not the starter, but still, that's his job. He should know better. Kafka should know better and to call the play to be an option fucking play. Are you kidding me? Like, why would you even give the option? Why wouldn't you just call a straight up fucking pass? Like it just blows my mind on how you could even call an offensive play there in that situation where you can't afford to hand it off and you allow it to be an option. No, Kafka, you're fired.
Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't been fired yet. To tell you the truth, after everything that's going on, I don't know.
I mean, to be fair, what goes on week to week in the coaching staff is like Kafka helps Daboll every single week with the game planning, right? Like Daboll comes in and he has the offense how he wants it. These are the plays that work best, blah, blah, blah. And him and Kafka work hand in hand during the week. So when it comes time for game time, he takes care of all the bullshit that Dabo doesn't have time for. And that's kind of like why, because he helps him throughout the week. And that's probably why he hasn't been fired, is just because of that, the clerical part. But as far as offensive coordinator does, he should strip the play calling completely away from him. 100%.
That's one big pile of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And
sorry,
so,
I got riled up there.
I hear you. You think you say it was you this time and not me, so it was nice, But
it's just
do not
annoying.
disagree.
Stupidity annoys me.
Oh, I hear you. And stupidity. Let's talk about the Los Angeles Chargers then. How about that? And then what they did with the Monday night and losing to the Cowboys when they had every opportunity to win this game. And just does a broken middle finger make that much of a difference when you're trying to throw a football? Because it looks like Justin Herbert is really just not all there.
Yeah, I mean if it's your, because it's his throwing hand, it's going to affect how you throw that ball.
Hand.
Oh, it's his left hand.
His left hand, and it's all just up that middle finger.
So
and
no,
you
that
saw
shit
even when
has
he
no
went down,
bearing.
he's like going like this gingerly, trying not to hit it. And
as long as it's not your throwing hand, then it shouldn't have any effect.
And he had a bunch of miscues here, overthrowing, a bunch of times, and Keenan Allen had him wide open a few different times. One's down the sideline for a touchdown.
Oh my God, I saw that.
But even Keenan Allen sitting in the middle of the wide open and missing him.
Okay, I'll say this about some quarterbacks, not all, but some. Justin Herbert is in this class.
Yes.
Okay. When there's wide open receivers, some quarterbacks think they still have to make that perfect throw. You don't. When you have a wide receiver that open, there was no coverage around him. You don't have to make it perfect. You don't have to hit him in direct stride and have him keep. You can just get it to him. He can stop, catch it, and then turn on the jets afterwards. So that to me is kind of what some quarterbacks do. Like Herbert probably said, "Oh, I got to fit this perfect so then he can keep running." No. If you're that wide open as a receiver, as a quarterback, you're like, "Oh, geez, this is easy. Just get it to him." You don't have to make it perfect. It can be a little short. You know what I mean? If he catches it on his hip and keeps running, who cares? Like, just get the ball to him, and you don't have to overthink it. You don't have to make it perfect. So for Herbert in this one, he had some miscues, and it showed glaringly. But, man, the Chargers just had so much opportunity to win this game, to close it out, and to beat the Dallas Cowboys. But they just kept letting the Cowboys hang around. Just keep letting them hang around.
All right, we got a few comments here, Joe.
Oh, Anna is in here. Anna Diaz, Rincon. She goes, "What up, Bear?" Yeah, Raider Bear, where'd you go? Where are you
what's
at?
Up?
He wasn't. You're being called out. Mike Tackett also chimes in. He goes, Caleb Williams wants to have a stake in ownership where he goes. With Aaron Rodgers' request for ownership equity worked into his contract, being denied by NFL owners, is Williams over his head?
It's funny that he brings this up.
Or will that be the new norm with the new CBA?
That's funny, too, because I was going to have this
question.
be a talking point. So I was on it with you on this time, Mike. I know what you were doing. What do you think, Joe? I mean, I thought this is an interesting topic, too, as well. Now, this is the first time we see, a college guy that's going to possibly enter the draft here in 2024. The number one prospect, even at this point.
Right now.
Saying
gonna
that,
change.
hey, listen,
It's gonna change.
You draft me, I want ownership. So will that affect is he going to be like, oh, I'm not signing your contract until you do this?
You have to.
You know what I mean?
They have the rights to you, so you ain't going nowhere.
I mean, what is it? What other kind of turmoil is this going to cause? But even after seeing it already shot down with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, how is he even going to make this, charge?
It's not going to work. It's that simple. Like if Aaron Rodgers, here's the thing, and it's two different situations. Rodgers is an established Hall of Fame quarterback in this league, and he can't get it done. So if he's not going to get it done, and I don't think any owner would agree to this anyway, because now all of a sudden you're going to give ownership to this player, that player, that before you know it, you're going to be out of a job. You're not going to own it. So I don't foresee this actually being a normal thing. I don't foresee this even being a thing. I think players might try to keep trying to get ownership stakes and all that. But for Caleb Williams being a college kid, a college draftee, not even in the NFL yet, and is now talking about how he wants to have a stake in whatever team's drafting him, it's not going to happen. You have no leverage at all as a draft prospect. None. Because wherever you get picked, the contract's already schematically and financially done. Like, all you have to do is sign. There is no negotiation anymore. That ship sailed when Jamarcus Russell signed his deal for like $60 million guaranteed, and he was a bust. That completely changed the future of drafting and how they handle contracts. So for Caleb Williams, who wants to have a stake and all that, I just don't see it happening for anybody. If it isn't going to happen for Rodgers, it's not going to happen for a new draftee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing. And it's funny that some of these guys are actually trying to demand that.
It's not going to happen.
To do this. And yeah, like you said, there is no leverage.
There's none.
Because what's a team? Teams don't like to give up power with, the NFL itself and things like that, around there.
Right.
They're not going to have this kid coming out of college and make a demand
who hasn't proven himself.
Who hasn't proven themselves. Because, what if he ends up a bust or whatever?
Right.
We're not all of a sudden, all right, you sucked, you're not playing for us anymore, but we're glad you're part of the ownership group now because you're going to do a great freaking job with that too. Yeah, okay. You know what I'm saying? It's dumb.
It just doesn't make any sense.
The fact that you want to try and do this,
yeah.
What is that even question about you? Will that make is? I'm just going to say it just for the hell of it. Let's just throw it out there. Do you think that hurts his draft stock even? Because we've seen some of these draft stock people go down with some of their attitudes. You do the Wonderlic test and you do this and they do interviews. This guy already coming out like this. Well, I want to. If so, this team that drafts me, I'm going to ask them for ownership. Part of this.
I don't think it's going to hurt him at all.
At all. A lot of people expect because of the talent that he has here too. And then,
I don't think it's going to hurt him or anybody
what
else.
What he's trying to say here, but if he's just trying to break the mold here for people and be the jet setter or whatever, it's not going to happen. Like you said, it's already shut down with a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who is
Hall of
Famer. Going to the Jets and things like that. They have never said that, players out, that after they retire can be part of ownership and things like that.
Right.
We saw it. And we see even former players from
Tom
the NBA
Brady.
and things like that too.
Tom Brady tried to be ownership, and he could. However, it got denied because they need to know if he's officially done. There's no chance of him coming back. There's no chance of him. They want to just make sure as owners,
to make sure he's player owner, or something like that.
Yeah, they want anything like that. So it got denied the first time, but I think it's good. I think they're going to still try to get it to pass through. But Anna always comes in and she goes, "I can go run a little league." Oh, that's awesome.
He can go run a little. Yeah.
He can. He could. And you don't need permission for that. He can do that out in California as much as he wants, or whatever team he goes to. There's always that.
Yeah, there's Madden out there, so you can own a team.
He can
easily, just like that. So
he can have ownership of Madden 24.
There you go.
Maybe that could be it. Maybe that could be it. If you want ownership of Madden, you might have a better chance.
There you go.
Partial
Absolutely.
ownership.
So, yeah, definitely appreciate the comment, Mike. Absolutely. One other thing in news, too. How about Roger Goodell now gets another 3-year extension, Joe? He's 64 currently right now. And experts believe, now that this is probably his final deal that he's going to get, just because if you look at the past couple of commissioners, Pete Rozelle stepped down at the age of 63 and Paul Tagliabue 65. So he's right in the middle, smack middle of that. So the fact he did another 3-year extension, a lot of people think that, 3 more years, 67, he's just going to walk away and give it up, and do it. But who knows? The way this guy is, he might just go till he croaks. I'm just like, you have to rip it from my clutches, my dead body.
I don't think so. Let's pump the brakes a little bit, because I think everybody's getting ahead of themselves. He can sign this contract all he wants. He still has a lawsuit that he has to deal with John Gruden. And that's going to really tell how long his tenure is actually going to be, because if it comes back that John Gruden wins his case, or the decision is going to the Supreme Court right now, right? And the NFL's been trying to prolong this and trying to get it settled outside of court. And now they're at the Supreme Court level, the top level. There's nowhere up nowhere farther up to go, but it's either going to be decided by the Supreme Court whether they handle it outside of court, and if it's turned down yet again for the third time, it's going to the Supreme Court, and they are going to release all those emails that we've been waiting to see what exactly that all means. Mm-hmm. If that happens and John Gruden wins this case against Roger Goodell, you can kiss Roger Goodell goodbye. He will no longer be the commissioner of the NFL because not only did Gruden win the case, but that also means, guess what? Your so-called extension goes bye-bye. I don't think any of the owners are going to be able to stand behind you because you couldn't keep this under wraps and keep the emails quiet. A lot of those emails that we are not privy to yet, and hopefully we do someday get to see them, is that apparently across the league, this could stir up some controversy for every single owner on every single team. And if that is to happen and it blows up in Goodell's face, that just it's going to further accelerate the idea for owners to get rid of Goodell, hire a new commissioner, and that changes the whole plan altogether. So let's not get too far ahead of ourselves with Goodell signing an extension just yet.
He goes home now to mommy, and he gets reprimanded, and that's the end. Sorry, mommy. Sorry, Mom. Didn't mean to embarrass you, Mom.
I've been waiting to hear that soundbite forever.
Oh, man. Yeah. Hey, you got to use it sometimes.
That's
absolutely.
right.
So, hey, again.
Thanks, guys, for all the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep them coming. We appreciate you
Mike,
guys
great
out
question,
there.
by the way.
Absolutely.
Anna goes, release the emails. Yes, we're hoping so. We're hoping it happens. So hopefully Gruden can win yet again for the proceedings in the Supreme Court.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, Joe. All right, so you know what? It's time to bring up our, next segment too. We've been doing our segments, that we've been doing the last couple of years here. One of our favorites is Joe's decapitation of the week. So here it is, Joe. We're going to let it fly here.
Banned in most countries, but not here. It's time for your decapitation.
All right, here we go. Joe, what's the decapitation of the week?
I got to say that, this week was very hard to pick. There was a lot of decapitations, but I had to go with Davante Adams getting nailed by the Patriots safety there. Like, he took a huge hit. Man. It was ugly.
Yep, absolutely.
I'll tell you,
bang.
There was other hits that qualified, but I'm like, man, that was such a devastating hit, and it just left a long-lasting pain with Adams afterwards.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's what I mean. It hurt us to watch it, but then Davante Adams, he's probably still feeling it.
Yep, the ribs.
He's definitely going to be sitting home at his Taco Bell, eating a few extra tacos. Soft
they opened another location in his house.
Yeah, I saw that.
How
about that? It's big.
Booming
down there. It's booming.
It's booming.
Who knows? Maybe Hunter Renfrow will work there soon.
Oh, jeez. Poor Renfrow.
Oh man, that was uncalled for.
Hopefully he stays a Raider for Raider fans' sake.
Absolutely. So, all right, Joe, the picks competition. I didn't update the wins here on the graphics here, but
okay.
I ended up gaining one more game on you here, but it's early. This week is, or this year is still crazy as all, and is a long.
I'm still trying to figure out.
Last year showed us it's a long season, so I brought it back right to the last freaking game, right up to the Super Bowl. And we ended up having a 3-way tie where we all drank and had a lot of fun.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot of fun this season too as well.
At least we shared in the drinking.
Yeah, we did, and we had a blast. So if you guys don't know yet, our picks competition goes out throughout the season. Loser has to drink a football-sized thing of alcohol. And last year we all drank, so it was a lot of fun. So play along with us. Give us your picks along with us too. We appreciate it. Drop it in the comments as well. All right, so let's get to it. Tomorrow night, Jacksonville Jaguars and the New Orleans Saints. I would normally even say maybe Saints at home, but they've been doing terrible on offense here, not really getting it going. Defense can only do so much. But the big factor here is if Trevor Lawrence is going to play. Because if it's a game time decision for me, if Trevor Lawrence is playing, no offense, I think I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars on this. Okay. But if he is not, and it's a CJ Beathard party, I'm going Saints on this one.
And watch CJ still win.
We've seen things like this happen.
But yeah, I mean, Jacksonville Jaguars. But here's the thing. Here's the problem for me. They're 4-2 right now. And I'm still not convinced that this team is back to where it was last year. They might have had a great, week, but it was against the Colts. I'm sorry, I just can't.
You are
I'm
fake
having
news.
I'm having a hard time with the Jaguars right now. Trevor Lawrence, he's played great in a few games, but then he's also looked pretty bad. And then same thing could be said about the Jaguars defense. They're kind of up and down as well. So, and the Saints, we go to the Saints. One thing that's been solid is their defense. It's always been solid. They're a little bit banged up right now. I'm not sure. And here's the thing. Both teams are banged up. Zay Jones is not going to play already. He's already been ruled out. Brandon Scherf is in question, their guard. And then the Saints, I mean, they might be missing, Matthew at safety, the Honey Badger. And their offensive line for the Saints has been struggling big time. The one thing that we noticed them make a change last week is they started bringing extra protection, extra linemen, extra tight ends, and it kind of helped open up the offense a little bit. But I will say this too about the Saints. Another problem is their offensive playmaking or play calling. Pete Carmichael of the Saints, I think, is just literally blowing this opportunity to have one of the better offenses, and I feel like he's holding them back as well. The Saints are at home. I feel like that's where I'm gonna go with this one. I trust the Saints defense. I don't know what to expect, like you mentioned with Trevor Lawrence. Even if he starts, he's probably going to be playing hurt. It's going to take maybe one hit to knock him out, and that's if he plays. Other than that, I got more trust and faith in the Saints defense and Derek Carr led offense. I'm going with the Saints.
All right. Next up, we got the Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears here. Now, Justin Fields gets knocked out of the game too, last week too, so he's injured.
Can I I have to say that I think the Bears are very rapidly approaching my hate list because, I hate the Chiefs. I hate the Broncos. And I think the Bears are right there now. I think they're getting close because they've literally disappointed me on every level of a football team. Obi-Wan Kenobi, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the show. He said hello there.
You're disgusting.
Raiders.
Give me $200.
The nation is still filtering in.
The Raiders Nation.
That's it.
Boom.
Obi-Wan is
Absolutely.
here.
Obi-Wan in the house with us tonight. Absolutely.
Yeah, so
We definitely appreciate
Vegas
him.
and Chicago, I just had to get that off my chest. The Bears suck. I hate them. And honestly, they keep disappointing me. When I just think that they're going to turn the corner maybe a little bit and get a little bit better, Fields is in jeopardy of not playing, first of all. Let's just say that he most likely is not playing. And as bad as their offense has been, it's just going to continue to get worse, especially if Fields doesn't play. The defense for Chicago, another thing is their secondary is a little bit banged up. I don't know who's going to be able to be available. Is Eddie Jackson finally going to make a return or not? In Vegas, does the Chicago Bears have a chance to stop Max Crosby? I mean, we've seen last week where Crosby was literally being triple teamed and still getting pressure, still getting to the quarterback, still stopping the run. So I look for that trend to keep continuing going against Chicago. And I don't care who's quarterbacking for the Raiders. I don't care if it's Jimmy G. I don't care if it's Brian Hoyer. I'm going to go with the Raiders in this one into Chicago.
All right. Yeah, I mean, this one, again, it's tough. Like you said, Jimmy G, they already checked him out into it. It's not as bad as it might have been. So who knows? We'll monitor that closely. But we've seen some good things from, the backup here for the Raiders, too. So maybe we'll see if that sparks something for them right now.
And can they just get the ball to Devontae Adams more? Just make it happen. And get Renfro in.
Yeah.
Just make this
maybe
offense.
this could be the week because you got, it's the different quarterbacks in there. We'll make it happen. Who
This
knows?
is the offense. It's they're supposed to be able to score points. After spending over $100 million on just the offense, you'd think they'd be able to score 30 points a game.
What's funny, too, is didn't we say last week when we talked about this, and we said even the Patriots, their key, what Bill Belichick's got to do is take away the one thing that could hurt
and he
them,
couldn't do that.
and they didn't do it. In fact, he gets the safety on you to win the game.
Him
What
and
the hell are you doing?
the former Patriot D tackle and Adam. I just forgot his last name. Anyway, the D tackle there for now the Raiders. He was a former Patriot. He ended up meeting Max Crosby there in the backfield. The comment section lineup. Rick, what's going on, bro? Welcome to the show. He goes, Aloha Raider Nation. And it says Alpha Rick. Oh, there we go, Alpha Rick. And then Rick. Oh, he just replied to Anna. And then Anna. that's up to Coach. Okay. Well, we're having our own conversations in the chat, and I'm left out. I don't know what's going on anymore.
I don't know what's going on. What the hell's going on there having conversations? But hey, whatever. That's
Hey,
fine. You guys are
welcome, Raider
lighting up
Nation.
the chat
Welcome,
and
welcome,
having
welcome.
conversations with each other.
I like
It's
it.
all good.
I like it.
Showing love with each other. I love it. Absolutely. There's our know-it-alls right
All
there.
right. So are you? Did you make your pick or no?
I did not make my pick, but basically I was getting at the fact that Chicago, again, very underwhelming, but then a lot of injuries, though, with that team. Now that Justin Fields is out, too, I'm going Raiders all day on this
Despite
one,
a healthier offensive line, I just think this is going to be ugly.
absolutely.
I think
All
for
right.
both parties, though.
Yeah.
I think this might be just almost kind of like the Patriots game. Like it was a sloppy game to watch. I think going into Chicago, it's going to be obviously colder. So let's see how the Raiders can handle the weather as well.
Now, there we go. We got more Ricks in the house.
Raiders.
Oh, in the house. We'll just hit some DJ horns for everybody out there. We love it. It's Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts. After showing that the Colts here last week and what they did, and then looking at the Cleveland's defense, I think the defense of the Colts can win this game alone on this one. So I'm telling you, it's good. It might be a little even closer because it's going to be one of those trap games. But because Colts here at home bounce back from that terrible loss in Cleveland, maybe high off of that win what they just had here that they barely edged out. By the way, I like the Cleveland Browns still in this one.
Yeah, I'm going with the Cleveland Browns in this one, and it doesn't matter if Watson is available or
Right.
if he's not. The Cleveland Browns defense is the true key to the success of this team going forward. Obviously, when Watson is healthy, that offense can put points on the board. But man, the Colts just looked bad last week. I mean, Gardner Minshew looked a little lost, looked a little confused. Guess what? You're going to be really confused this week because there's going to be a ton of pressure put on Minshew, and there's still like no sight of Jonathan Taylor. Really, they're not getting him as involved as you would like to, being a amazing running back like he is. So hopefully, like that trend kind of goes upwards with him, and he gets more involved. But Cleveland all the way.
All right. Rick says Raiders over Bears 21 to
27
27 to
13.
2013. Yep. 27-13.
There you go. There's a prediction right there.
Got it. Bold. Yeah, and I can agree with that, though. How about that? Yeah, 27.
You think? Wait, hold on.
You think your
Rick,
Bears are going to score 13
Rick,
points?
Hold on, Rick. Do you really think that the Raiders are going to score over 20 points? I mean, because they haven't done it all year.
The other way. Yeah.
So,
How about that? Yeah.
I don't know.
Who knows?
I don't know.
This could be the time.
It might
So
be
you're saying there's a
1913.
chance.
1913, the final
All right,
score.
here we go. Buffalo and New England. New England is struggling right now. You know what I mean? Besides
they're
them,
And this is
the
the
only
game
other
they're
team
gonna
that's
win.
terrible is Carolina. But yeah, Buffalo, again, they're not really showing me a whole lot right now. When you almost lose to the Giants right there, I mean, it's kind of funny because you lose to the Jets team who only had Aaron Rodgers in a game for 4 plays,
Right.
And then you're that close against the Giants, and then even the week before, you lose to the Jaguars. I mean, before that, I mean, you're struggling right now here. So to fight against a Bill Belichick-led team who always gives you problems right now in New England,
Yeah.
this could be an upset victory again here for imagine that the Patriots
Could
somehow
be.
come out of this one. But
Somehow.
plus the thing with Buffalo is look at the difference. I'd say even from last week of not having Matt Milano in the lineup here for you on
It's
defense.
huge. It's huge.
I don't think Saquon rips off some of those runs or even what Breda was doing even last week with Matt Milano
Right.
in there stuffing that gap because he already reads that and kills that play instantly. So he not being in the game is a big factor for Buffalo right there.
Absolutely. And Matt Milano, defensive captain, a guy that kind of gets everybody in the right spot and plays amazing himself. That is a huge loss for the Buffalo Bills defensively. And quite honestly, like this game, like we've talked about nothing but like the negatives about Buffalo's offense and how they're still not the same team as last year where we thought they were going to really take off. And now here's this season. Where's the points? Where's the Stephon Diggs getting 2-3 touchdowns and then Josh Allen himself running in a couple of scores? We haven't seen that yet, but this could be the game. As bad as the Patriots have played, they've been banged up on defense, but also they're just not playing well on defense anyway. And then you couple that with Mac Jones in this offense, how inept it is. They haven't been able to score points. They haven't been able to keep their defense off the field to stay fresh. I think that doesn't change in this one. I think the Bills, this could be a game where the Bills kind of maybe check themselves and get back on track offensively, defensively, and what have you. So I'm going Buffalo.
All right. Yeah. After that's all said and done, too, even though, again, not having a Matt Milano, but you see the tick down, in this defense, what they're doing.
Yeah.
I think they bounced back this week, too, as well, and able to get the job done here, too. And now New England and you fans out there, you finally are starting to get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be a Giants fan for a little bit here, So enjoy your losing season,
Oh, jeez.
Soak it all up and
Soak it in.
all right?
Soak it
And
in.
then I'll check next season and see how many fans are still around that are Patriots fans. If you left town already or jumped on a different bandwagon.
Right.
We'll see what kind of fans are really out there. So let's just double check on that one next year. We're going to check on you. Maybe even this season, Joe, maybe what we'll do a new segment. I'm going to actually make a phone call in to and check on a Patriots fan throughout the season. Just make sure that they're okay.
You all right?
Right? You guys okay? Everything doing okay? You need to talk? All right, next we got some more comments, Joe. What is it? What we got?
We got Rick also commenting, and he goes, "This is the game that the defense scores on a turnover, and the offense scores 2 touchdowns and 2 field goals." Okay.
Boom.
There you go.
Another prediction. I like it. We'll
Very
see if
big
that comes
prediction
to
there.
fruition. I like it.
Let's see.
It could be. It could be. Washington Commanders and the Giants. Let's see. Washington, I had that itch to maybe get them last week. I was thinking about it, and I was
Yeah.
like, whatever. No, but the personnel and the things that
Man.
they got, they should have been able to, Atlanta should have been able to play into that whole role.
That's a game.
And I said
Okay.
about B. John Robinson, get it done. On the other side, I got Robinson right, but it happened to be Brian Robinson, got on the other end and get the touchdown. But hey, Nostradamus was off a few times too.
But here's the thing: is that Bijan was not utilized enough in that game, and that's
said that was the key.
And
He
that
said
is
that
a
was the
game,
key.
and that is a game that Atlanta was expected to come away with a win. This is a team where, like, literally, we've talked about this 100 times with Desmond Ridder. He's not the guy, and again, you have another opportunity to be the man to prove to Arthur Smith and company that you're the answer. You're going to be the franchise quarterback from now on. And he still wasn't able to get that right. So I'm sorry. We've talked about it before, but Taylor Heineke is waiting in the wings as a backup quarterback. We know he's capable, more than capable, to come in, run this offense the way it's supposed to be or should be run, and attack and get more points on the board, help out your defense. So Atlanta, Arthur Smith, I don't know what you're deciding on. All I saw was complete frustration on the sideline from him, like his facial expressions and whatnot. Every time he called a play and it didn't get executed because of Ridder, now's the time. Pull the plug. It's over. Like,
Yeah.
Desmond Ridder's not the answer. Put in Heineke and try to save what you can of the season because you're not out of it. You're in the NFC right now. You could probably come back and push for at least the division, maybe a playoff berth in the wild card or something like that. So make a change now before it's too late.
Absolutely. I think we should petition it on X, Joe. We'll do hashtag show us the Heine. How about that? Show us the Heine. We want the Heine in. We need to see the Heine because I think he would end up getting you over that hump there and get you further.
Mike
We got
Tackett
Mike
coming in,
Tackett's
yeah.
in the house. What do we got?
He goes, who gets a dome stadium first, Cleveland or Washington?
Cleveland or Washington?
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Washington. And the reason why is because they have a new owner who has a boatload of money, who's not cheap at all. And I
He's
think
looking
that's
to revamp the
right.
whole.
He's looking to
look.
change. He's looking to maybe possibly change the name and the colors and everything. And what would be better than to also have a brand new stadium? So that kind of makes a lot more sense to me than Cleveland. Cleveland's been around. Obviously, they could use a new stadium, but man, I just think they're just so cheap up front in the front office and everything and the ownership that I don't think he'll do it unless the city's like, oh, we'll just pay for everything.
Everything,
right?
Who knows? I mean,
But I'm
going to
go Washington. I'm gonna go
That's a
Washington.
good question. I
Go
like
with the
that. I'm
Capitol.
going to agree with you on that one too as well. But speaking of Washington, here we are. Here against the Giants.
Yep.
For me, I think the Giants can win this game. Just with
Yes, they
the
can.
fact of what they've done, despite
can.
all the mishaps, the terrible offensive line, just because they're just all injured, even too. It looks like Evan Neal's going to sit out of this game too. He did not practice. So.
It's just midweek, so he didn't practice midweek, but that doesn't mean that he won't practice later on and play.
We'll see. But despite it all, I'm going to pick against them. I'm going to pick the Washington Commanders on this one in hopes that the Giants will pull out a victory here. and make me feel better about it. But I'm going to, on the safe side, go with the Washington Commanders just because I just trust them more. There's more trust in what they're doing and, that defensive side and Sam Howell at this point.
Yeah, I mean, for Washington, they're coming in pretty healthy still. They got a few, nicks and bruises, but they're going to be coming in pretty healthy, where the Giants are just not healthy at all. They're all banged up. Their best offensive lineman still has yet to return from a hamstring injury. Andrew Thomas. Don't know if he's even going to be available for this game. On top of that, like you mentioned, like you got Shane Lemieux, you got Evan Neal. They managed to bring Matt Pert. He's still out. I don't know what's going to happen with this team going forward. It just seems like they keep getting beat up every single week and not getting much healthier. Despite Saquon being there, I don't think it's enough. I'm going to go with Washington this one. I feel like, just like you mentioned, Jim, I have more confidence in Sam Howell as a quarterback. I have more confidence in that offense and that defense as well.
All right. Rick says he's taking the G-Men by 4.
All right, Rick, I like it.
Yeah. Go. Hey, I would like if it does happen that way. Like I said, I pick against them. So then when they lose, hey, I feel good because I just got to win. But if they win, whatever,
It's a terrible
that's
way
my
to look at it.
mentality. That's the way I am. And this is what it's like being a Giants fan, with what they got. But I mean, look at you grab Justin Pugh and literally he even says it. I think, how they show him when they introductions, he's like, Justin Pugh right off the couch. Didn't even say what college he played at. He's like, yeah, I just got off the couch.
Just got off the couch. He's not wrong.
And, we talked about this off air, but let's go to Rick. He says, if Howell has no turnovers and plays well, Washington then by a field goal. That's key. But what is he going to do? What's telling you on defense that they're going to be able to make some turnovers here? One highlight on that defense for the Giants, though, is Okereke. What a pickup to get him from the Colts here and get Okereke on the free agent here. And he did amazing. And he's been playing amazing. Been able to read the quarterback's eyes and get some tips to turn into turnovers. Hopefully he can keep it going here for them. Absolutely. But off air, we talked about this, and we were looking at the free agents that they're even signing right now. They, like you said, they grabbed Pert, they grabbed Justin Pugh right off the couch, but there's other free agents that are out there that are better than these guys that can be starters even at this point for this team, Joe.
100 better. I mean, you look at so I'm going to go look at, Pro Football Focus, and they have their top 100 list of free agents, but just for the top 10 alone. Number 1, La'el Collins. La'el Collins recently cut from Cincinnati this season. He's 30 years old. He can still play extremely well. You bring in a guy like La'el Collins, you bring in a guy in like maybe, let's just say Andrew Norwell, the guard, and then, hey, if Andrew Thomas isn't going to be around, oh yeah, I mean, there's other guys too. You can go and look at left tackle. You can bring in Taylor Lewan for God's sakes if he's still interested in playing. There's all kinds of, and then for center, because there's no John Michael Schmitz, Ben Jones is still available at center. So you could literally have all former starters as free agents, sign them all on cheap contracts, even if they don't remain your starters. You have them for the rest of the year. They add depth, and they can also help out this team right now. They don't even need to know the plays. You could just put them out on the field right now and just have them, hey, just block. Like, they're going to do a better job. So that's the one thing that kind of frustrates me about teams in need of talent, teams in need of filling holes on the offense or defense or whatever. Why aren't you going out and looking at this free agent list and saying, hey, let's see if we can bring this guy in? Frank Clark is still a free agent. A halfway decent D-end. He can come in and help a squad. Why isn't he signed yet? Desmond King just got cut today. The slot corner for the Steelers just got cut today. He's rated the 3rd best free agent right now. Like these are all players. Like, if you need help, go get them. Leonard Fournette is 4th on the list. Leonard Fournette is only 28 years old. Are you kidding me? Like, it frustrates me as a fan. It frustrates me as a person that follows football so closely. Is all these teams every single year, no matter who it is, whether there's a weakness in the offensive department and the defensive department, everybody says the same thing every single year. They say, hey, we're going to improve our team wherever, whenever we can. Okay, Giants, you're up. You need to improve your offensive line. Everybody knows it's been a weakness for quite some time, for over 5 years. There's great free agents out there that you could bring in right now to not only start, but they'll probably play way better than anything you got. So Why haven't we seen this? Why haven't we seen you guys even bringing him in to work out? I just don't understand it for any club. You need help at receiver. Julio Jones, for Christ's sake, just got signed. He just got signed by the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's a team that doesn't need weapons, but they're like, hey, that'll be an improvement. He'll be cheap. Let's go grab him. Why isn't every team doing this? I just don't understand. Some of these guys, despite their age, they should be brought in, worked out, and hey, if it's going to upgrade your roster in any shape or form, freaking sign them.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that one, Joe. Too. All right, next up, we got the Atlanta Falcons. I'm picking too many away teams. This looks scary for me, but
I like it.
All right, here we go. We got the Atlanta Falcons.
I like it.
And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're kind of at that same spot here with the Falcons here, Joe, like you are with the Bears here. I'm taking my try with them every time that I do. They seem to screw me over on this one.
Right.
I'm done with this. Plus, Tampa Bay coming up, and getting that loss last week. I think they want to wipe the taste out of their mouth. They play home again. It's sad that they weren't able to pull off that victory in the creamsicle outfits or uniforms, but I think they come back strong against Atlanta in this one. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's the first home game I picked, unless the
Congratulations.
New Orleans Saints. And Trevor Lawrence is not playing him, so I got the Saints in that one.
Anyway, Atlanta, what are you doing? Like we you got to make a quarterback change. You got to try to save this season because you're not completely out of the of reach of even getting a wild card. So why not make a change now, and it could better prepare you for the future. Desmond Ritter's not the answer. I think Atlanta Falcons fans have known this for quite some time. I think you guys have known it for quite some time, but yet Arthur Smith and whoever is above him that's kind of maybe urging him to start him, it's time. It's just time. We've seen enough from Ritter, enough of the mistakes, enough of the miscues, and we haven't seen any progress. That's really the big problem here in Atlanta, is there has been no progress for Ritter through his time thus far this season, and it's time to change. Put Taylor Heineke in, and let's see what he can do. I guarantee you it's going to not only make this offense better, but they're going to put up a lot more points week to week, and it make a big difference going forward in terms of your record, obviously. So that needs to happen. But until that does, Atlanta's going to continue to struggle offensively. I like the weapons. Like, you look at Drake London and how well he played last week. Even with Ritter's inept throwing, he was able to make some amazing plays. And you have talent around him. You just need to change the quarterback. So I like the defense too. Atlanta has a decent defense, but it's kind of hard to have a good defense when you're always on the field. For Tampa, make fun of Baker Mayfield as much as you want, but this is a team where I feel like when they're playing Atlanta, I feel like they're gonna do a great job. Like, not only defensively, Tampa Bay has a good defense, but the Bucs actually have pretty good weapons, right? Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, like they got weapons. So Baker Mayfield, this could be an opportunity for him to kind of get back on track and get more consistent and get some more points there. I'm going to go with Tampa being at home and be able to knock the Falcons down. As long as they keep starting Ritter, I'm going to probably pick against them.
There you go. We've turned on them, Joe.
That's
right. These teams have made us.
They made us bitter. That's really what it is. They made us bitter.
Yeah, we just don't trust them anymore. They've lost our trust. All right, so this is, for me, probably the game of the week.
Ooh, it's a good game.
Secondary game of the week. I got two of them that are highlighted here. Detroit and Baltimore. Yeah. I'm excited at this game here at 1:00. I hope it airs near me. If not, I need to go somewhere that this game is going to be showing up somewhere. I need to find
Come
it.
to my house.
Maybe I will.
I got
How about
it,
that?
man.
Right after we do our live show, which we are going to do. Now, we do every Sunday now here for
a new
Football
thing.
Universe Facebook group. If you guys haven't joined that group yet, here, check him out. Our good friend Paul Matty runs that group, and now he has deemed us to do a
Sunday morning
show right before the preview of all the games of the kickoff. So check us out then at 12 p.m. or 12 a.m. No, 12 p.m. I was right. 12 p.m. on Sunday morning. It throws me all off that it's actually a morning time show. But yeah, there you go. Check us out there for that. I'm excited for this one, Joe. I mean, against this defense that, isn't the Baltimore defense that we're kind of used to, but this Detroit team who seems like they're poised and ready to go. Another game, which I think if they play the way they have been playing, should be able to do. But in Baltimore, it's going to be really tough.
It's going to be really tough, and this is a great matchup. I got to say, like, despite like the statistics on their defense and everything for the Ravens, like, they just bring it every week. They're right. They create a lot of pressure on quarterbacks. They just make it very difficult to move the ball. Baltimore Ravens, that's what they do. They're a very physical team. They'll beat you up week to week. And then Baltimore's offense. So that's kind of like the more biggest question I feel like for this team is,
Oh yeah,
they bring on a new offensive coordinator from college, from the University of Georgia. But has prior NFL experience. He's been there, done that type of thing. So, but we didn't quite know what was it going to look like with Lamar Jackson. But it is kind of balanced. It is kind of like what we thought it was going to look like. The only unfortunate thing is that this offense hasn't been showing out like we envisioned it to. When you have the guys like Odell Beckham and you add Zay Flowers in the draft, and you have Devin Duvernay, and Rashad Bateman at your disposal, it's like now there's no excuse in terms of weapons. You got a lot of weapons. You got Mark Andrews at tight end. You have a ton of different running backs to utilize. But where's the points? It's not happening for them, and that kind of puts all the pressure on the defense to kind of keep stopping offenses to give them more chances to come back against a team in Detroit that is on fire. I mean, it's just that simple. The Detroit Lions offense is much better. Their defense is playing even better than last year. This is a team that's very hot, and coming into Baltimore, even though that's a very difficult place to play, it's hard to pick against the Lions right now. They are just as physical as the Baltimore Ravens. So I'm going to say this. I'm going to pick the Detroit Lions to go into Baltimore and actually steal the win.
Boom. I like it. I like the enthusiasm, Joe. And I think the same thing about the Detroit Lions here. Again, they're showing me something every week. They're showing that tough defense, getting pressure to the quarterback. They're not only able to throw the ball, but they're also able to run the ball even without Montgomery being there. They can still control the line of scrimmage weapons and get it going. Absolutely. So they've got all the momentum. I think it's going to be a tighter game because Baltimore is going to keep it closer for them because, again, it just being there at home is just going to be that little extra. But the key to this, what I'm excited to see is how are they going to hold off, Aiden Hutchinson, and is he going to be able to contain Lamar Jackson? Because if you contain Lamar Jackson, they got it all day long. And that's the key to it. I like the Detroit Lions in this one. All right, next up, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers and the LA Rams here. Rams have been looking pretty good. And even last week I talked about, hey, we'll get it going in a passing game and things like that. But even we're getting it done running too on top of that. So how about that? They do even the opposite and prove me wrong that they can actually win and score in other ways too on top of it. But get it done. Rams, a little bit of a pleasant surprise here. Pittsburgh, they're just up and down for me, man. I don't really know what to get with this team, man. It's really confusing. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of team with me on these ones all the time.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh, again, this year, I feel like a lot of people early on that were hyping up the Steelers and saying, well, what they did late last year with Kenny Pickett and George Pickens and the chemistry that they have, and you got Najee Harris returning healthy, and there was a lot of optimism this season. Mm-hmm. But, man, there's not much optimism now. They are one of those teams like a few others that are just struggling offensively, not being able to get points on the board. Defensively, they're still solid, but they're not being able to do enough, obviously, to try to win some of these games. Now, TJ Watt is. TJ Watt by himself is closing out games a couple of times this season to help the Pittsburgh Steelers get a win. But you can't keep relying on the defense. You just can't. There has to be a point in time where the offense shows up. And as of late, we haven't seen that. So I think that's going to continue. And against a Rams team that is now not only healthier, but they have Cooper Kupp back again. Puka Nacua is an emerging rookie talent that is taking over the league. which is making Van Jefferson expendable and getting traded and sent away. This team, they just added Myles Gaskin in free agency, running back, like we talk about free agency. Here's a team that just went out and did it. Kyron Williams is out for at least 4 weeks, and they just made a move. They signed another running back. So making moves, and they're going to keep this thing going. I feel like that now that Stafford has his big go-to target in Cooper, and with some of the emerging talent around him, this team is looking way better than we envisioned early in the year before we even got started. Their up-and-coming young defense is playing well ahead of themselves, and I think it's going to continue for them going. Now, Pittsburgh has to go to L.A. and face Aaron Donald's defense and Stafford's offense. So I think it's going to be too much for them. Rams going to win.
All right, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat that you're kind of thinking too as well. And if you said that the defense, they were good the first couple of weeks, but since then, again, now they've been asked upon to do everything for them.
Right.
They've even taken a tick down. If you look at even the way their rankings are right now, they're ranked 20th in points for, and then 30th so in yards. So really, taking advantage of, because on the opposite side, the offense 30th across the board. So second to third to last. They've just not been able to put up the points, so the defense exhausted out there. Be able to get some turnovers, which they are ranked second in turnovers there, to try and keep them in games. But it's just not enough to keep them get going here in this one. I like the Rams here as well in this one. If I was asked about this game probably in the preseason, I probably would have said otherwise. But since we've seen things play out the way they have this season, hey, Rams look pretty good right now. Big surprise for me.
That's right.
All right, next we've got the Arizona Cardinals and the Seattle Seahawks here. Seattle at home looks really good to me. I like that. They can bounce back from that loss here. Geno Smith kind of looking like he's coming back down to earth a little bit here. But Seattle, the way they play at home, I like them better. And just Arizona, they just know that Dobbs isn't the key here. They play tough. They're getting worn out now. But we're seeing now that, maybe they can bring back Kyler Murray now. He's starting to practice and get ready. We'll see how long that would take, and if he decides to come back this season, what that offense might look like.
Yeah, I mean, for Arizona, I mean, that's the positive right now. Is not only they are probably going to get back Kyler Murray this week. He's practiced, this week, and it looks like he's going to be trending towards starting. And also, their big-time safety in Budda Baker is also returning. Is designated to return this week. So two big additions back to this roster, and one at a key position in quarterback and one at their captain on the defensive side in Budda. Those are huge positives for them. Now, that being said, for Arizona, what's that going to do to this offense? Is because Kyler Murray hasn't played in quite some time. Now, we talked about Watson, about how he had this 2-year hiatus and came back and looked rusty. I still feel that even though Kyler Murray has been away not as long, to not be able to practice for that long, to not be able to throw a football to some of these receivers, to not be able to get into football shape and create chemistry, we're going to see some rust from Kyler Murray. We're going to see some wild throws. We're going to see some miscues. And I think a lot of time he's going to rely on his own legs to try to keep the offense going. So I feel like he's going to struggle a little bit his first time back, and that's if he starts this week. But Budda Baker definitely going to help out this defense, and this defense is superseding expectations, to say the least, as well. They were a team that a lot of people thought they were creating this fire sale, getting rid of guys like young talents like Isaiah Simmons in a trade, and people were like, well, maybe this team is kind of selling out this year. But no, they've been very competitive. Still think they're going to be competitive, even though they're going into Seattle to face the Seahawks. But for Seattle, they got to get back on track. I mean, they had a very embarrassing loss last week. Geno Smith, like Jim mentioned, he just didn't look like himself. He was holding on to the football way too long and allowing the pressure to get to him, and creating turnovers and just taking on sacks, getting hit. So Seattle's got to change that up this week. Get back to the ground game. Get Geno Smith to get rid of the ball under 3 seconds. Make it quick, short passes, and try to keep this offense going here. For Seattle's defense, another thing for them is they also got to make an impact, a huge impact. We've seen them 2 or 3 weeks ago where they just kind of took over a game themselves. And I'm waiting to see when the Seahawks team as a whole, offensively and defensively, have a combined effort and to get a win. I think this might be the one. I'm going to go with Seattle.
All right. Joe's got Seattle too as well. Rick is out there. He says, I like LA Rams this week with Cooper Kupp back. Absolutely. There you go. He's riding with us too as well. All right. We've got the Denver Broncos and the Green Bay Packers here, Joe. Green Bay coming back from that rest. Let's see if they got the ship kind of sail now after that embarrassing loss here. We got to see kind of Love come back to earth a little bit maybe too. You know, he started off the season pretty well and we're like, oh, look at Green Bay. Maybe they're competing now. You know, I wasn't sure how he was going to look. But then as he faced tougher defenses, things like that, forced into making mistakes, and it cost him in some plays here. Denver, man, they just look like a dumpster fire right now. And it's funny is because all the memes are popping out now, too.
Yeah, right,
it's like
right.
the things that, like the rankings of their offense was with Nathaniel Hackett and everything now, and it's actually worse now. So this is what we said even in the offseason. When Sean Payton, when you lay this out there, you air out the laundry and the garbage, man, you just put a spotlight on yourself. So if it goes poorly, you're in trouble, and people are going to focus on this a lot. And now this is all people are focusing on here. So they get embarrassed and they lose again. Green Bay, they've got a tougher defense than I thought here in this one, but if Denver needs to right the ship here, they need to be able to do it against Green Bay. I wouldn't be surprised if Green Bay can win this one, but I think I might just barely go for the Denver Broncos on this one, just because I think they're desperate enough for a win. If they lose, I'm writing them off again, Joe. They're on my other wagon. We're going to have a list of guys that we just wrote off this season.
I hate to bust it to you, but, you know, Denver's been desperate. Like it's not this week. They've been desperate for a win. They've been desperate to get back on track. And I'll tell you right now, we talked about how there's dissension in Denver. We talked about Sean Payton and Russell Wilson not getting along, not seeing on the eye to eye on the same page, and there's a rift there, and it's very, very noticeable. We saw last week Sean Payton losing his mind on Russell Wilson on the sideline, like screaming at him. Like when you start to lose your temper like that, it's too far gone. It's over. Like there's no reconciliation. There's no, hey, we'll get this figured out by next week. No working on it. I really think that this is it for Russell Wilson in Denver. I think despite the big money that he has, despite all that, I think Sean Payton wants him out now. He doesn't even want to deal with him anymore. So somehow, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I think they're going to be moving on from Russell Wilson at the end of the season. Somehow. If they can find a trade partner, that'd be obviously ideal, but not likely. Yeah. And
this goes to show you that maybe some of those headlines that are popping out in Seattle that he was the major problem.
And if it ends up being where Russell Wilson's going to basically be the highest paid backup, I think that's what's going to happen. But all in all, they're looking for a fire sale before a trade deadline. I've already heard reports about Jerry Jeudy being on the trade deadline. I've heard reports about Cortland Sutton being on the trade deadline. They're looking to sell before the trade deadline, implode this roster, and start over from scratch this offseason. So if that's any indicator, we'll see it as week 8 approaches, as the trade deadline approaches, to see where this franchise is headed. But it's not going to be good. So Green Bay, on the other hand, Green Bay is still trying to work some kinks out. Obviously, the offense, Matt LaFleur, I even question his play calling now at this point. Was once a very creative mind. I don't know if it's because Love is a different style quarterback and he's having an issue figuring out, mutual ground. But it's not all, it's not all rainbows and roses over there in Green Bay. They're still struggling a little bit on defense, especially obviously with better defenses. But the Packers defense is playing relatively well. So hopefully they can kind of get healthy on that side of the ball, because right now it looks like they're going to be missing Devondre Campbell yet again for another week. Quay Walker's going to have to step up yet again. And Darnell Savage is limited in practice, but most likely going to play. I think Green Bay in this one, this is a game where Green Bay could easily kind of steal this win in Denver. With as much dissension that's going on in Denver and how discombobulated that whole situation is, I think Green Bay ends up getting the win here in Denver. All
right, here we go. We got Ryan McCarthy's in the house with us tonight.
What's going on, Ryan? Welcome to the show.
First question for Ryan: does Levac know where you are right now?
That is a very good question.
All right.
He goes, I'm just glad the Jets are on a bye week after the emotional roller coaster us fans have been on the last 6 weeks. I'm sure the Jets players are glad too. Yes, I mean, I'm sure they're ecstatic because now they get to rest finally. No practice or anything like that. They're going to take a break, heal their bodies a little bit further, get healthier, and get recharged for the following week.
Yeah, maybe Aaron Rodgers takes the whole team to California and they take a dip in the Lazarus pit, and then they're going to feel better and they're going to be good. Who knows? You know, they're going to have a little cave outing. Into the darkness.
Do a meditation
retreat. Who knows?
That's right.
But yeah, that was good for them, and to do it on a win. Take a win, you feel
That's
good.
Huge.
Take a break.
It's
come
not,
back and refresh.
And that's the thing is, it's not just any win. It's a win against a undefeated team. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And now they were able to conquer that giant. This goes to show you, like, this team we thought was definitely going to be ready to win games and compete in this division. Mm-hmm. And then when we saw Rodgers go down, we're like, well, that's it. What can you say? Like, your literal starter's done. You can't come back from that. But hey, the Jets have put in the hard work. Zach Wilson has put in a lot of work, and yeah, he's not perfect. We all know that, but he's keeping the ship afloat right now.
Yep.
He's not. He's not the reason they're losing games anymore. So hopefully they can continue that trend, and who knows if Rodgers is by chance able to come back from some miraculous healing process, and they're in the, even if the Jets make a wild card playoff run, and Rodgers steps back in, how miraculous would that be for the Jets? As now you got Rodgers coming back just in time for the playoffs. That'd be insane.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, it would be amazing. What a storyline.
Incredible.
Imagine that Zach Wilson keeps the ship afloat throughout the season and that defense, and then Aaron Rodgers pulls back and says, hey, thanks, man. Here, hold this. Hold my beer.
Zach Wilson.
And then boom.
Yeah, Zach Wilson keeps ship afloat for idle quarterback.
Yeah.
In return to the playoffs.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
It's crazy. Just like that.
It just kind of writes itself.
Yeah, I like that story. All right, next, the Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. A tough divisional matchup here.
This is easy.
Last year, the Chargers were able to, get some wins here from the Kansas City Chiefs to show that they could be competitive here. But this year,
that was
a whole different thing. Justin Herbert, again, looks like a different guy, missing throws, and his fingers affected him that much. And that's,
which is weird.
I think it's just a mental thing right him at this point. Yeah. But they're also with that offense, and it's even normally a balance. They were showing the stats on how balanced, Kellen Moore was last year compared to Mike McCarthy's offense, and Dallas looked better last year, especially in the red zone. They're not utilizing Austin Eckler enough here, just not really getting the run and balance enough. So then you saw that Dallas defense just going after Justin Herbert a lot. He was able to make some of those throws, step up and make some of those, but you're not keeping it balanced enough for him. And I think they really got to get that running game going better.
I mean, my thing for the Chargers, especially in that Cowboys game, is get Austin Eckler the ball receiving wise. Get him, because that's where he becomes a huge mismatch.
Yeah,
if you're going to continue to send pressure on me, then have Eckler leak out, little dump pass right to him, and let him work afterwards. That could have really stunted that pressure that the Cowboys were trying to send, and kind of made them think twice rather than try to react. So
I agree with you on
Chargers.
that.
They got to get back to that this week. I mean, you're playing the Chiefs nonetheless. You got to break out all the stops like on offense. You got to be creative with the offense. You utilize Eckler in the receiving game and in the running game. You have the weapons at your disposal, to just distribute the football. Herbert, don't be afraid. Don't try to make the perfect pass all the time.
Yeah.
Just get it to the receiver, especially if the guys are wide open. Just get it to them.
Take the opportunities. But that being said, though, with this whole thing, I'm on the ropes with the trust with the Chargers here. Kansas City at home is always tough. Taylor Swift's probably going to be in the house again, because we all care about that. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be able to get things done here at home.
Thank God this is not a Sunday night game.
I know.
That's all I have to say. Because then it would be a big deal.
Yeah, it would be.
For the Chiefs,
Right.
I'll say this. Like, yes, they traded for Mecole Hardman. Great. That's not going to make your your offense immediately go back to the days of when Tyreek Hill was there. I know that's kind of what they're fishing for. They need some explosion and everything, but let's see what they do now. Adding Mecole Hardman, they should be able to insert him in a few plays here and there to get him reacclimated. But in Kansas City, very hard place to play. I got the Chiefs in this one just because, like, you have to beat them. You have to prove. Chargers got to prove to me that they can win, 1, and 2. This season is a different season. You got to try to beat the Chiefs again.
Yep, and even for once here, even in the last game, I don't think it was Brandon Staley's fault they lost that game either. Too, he didn't go for it. A lot of times when they looked at him and they thought he was going to go for it,
right?
He did the smart thing and take the points when they could.
Yep.
But it didn't matter at that point. All right, so next up we've got the other game of the week that I was excited about here.
Oh yeah,
not only the Detroit game, but this one right here, and it's Sunday night. Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles here. Great, matchup here. A good defense against a great offense here. It's going to be, that's basically your storyline right there, the defense versus the offense. But I think Miami at this point running on all cylinders, too many weapons. It's going to be close here, I think, in Philly, just because playing in Philly, it gets crazy. The fans are getting riled up. They're going to be singing their dumbass freaking song. It's going to annoy the shit out of me.
Sounds like you're a Giants fan.
Yeah. But on non-bias, I'm going to go with the Dolphins on this one because I like the fire that they bring and what they're doing. And I just think they got too many options here at this point to get it going here. I like the Miami Dolphins.
I'm going to tell you right now, like, I still think the Eagles are going to be a very, very tough. They're very tough to beat, nonetheless. They're still the same kind of team we saw last season, but they're not the same on offense. And that's kind of what's kind of preventing me from picking the Eagles like right off the get-go. Like, I'm just like, oh no, it's Philly all day long. It kind of puts some doubt in my mind. Can I really trust the Eagles offense going forward? Can I trust them to get them to bank them out of games at times? We still have yet to see Jalen Hurts and the rest of the staff there, rest of the players, make that much of a difference offensively to give me that confidence. Until I see that, I can't just say, oh, yeah, Eagles all day long. Miami, on the other hand, one of the hottest offenses in the league right now. They're very difficult to stop. Just when you think you have them pegged and you can figure it out, oh, we're going to double team Tyreek Hill. Oh, we're gonna do a double coverage on the defense against Waddle and Hill. Oh, now we got it figured out. No, because then they got the running backs running routes. The one difficult thing for anybody facing the Dolphins offense is Mike McDaniels. Mike McDaniels has been the creative genius everybody thought he was going to end up being, and more. The guy is so creative and so vast in his offense that he's able to just kind of create plays on the fly, even like a basketball coach, for crying out loud. Week to week, we might even see a new play installed just for that team that he's facing. So I feel like with that creativeness, with that attention to detail with this offense, and then let's not forget the defense. The defense is not just your old school Dolphins that were giving up a ton of points. This is a defense that's been built up again. Xavier Howard on one side, and now guess who's returning to football? Jalen Ramsey is due to come back this week. You bring him back to the secondary. Now you really got problems. Jalen Hurts is going to have to try to find ways to get A.J. Brown the ball. They're going to have to try to find ways to get Devontae Smith the ball. But even in doing so, it's going to be tough to get them there. I just think that it's going to be such a situation where, weather permitting, depending on how the weather goes here, it's going to kind of help dictate this game. I think the Dolphins, even though they have to come up and play in a harsh environment like that going forward, I got the Dolphins as well. I really think they can pull off a win against Philly, as Philly is going to attempt to make a big comeback this week. But, man, I'm not sure if it's going to be enough.
Right. And you got to think, too, Darius Slay still out and Jalen Carter, too, as well. Big factors on defense that aren't going to be there, too. And
the Dolphins don't have one of their other big-time weapons, rookie Devon Achane. Mm-hmm. That he's missing for the next 4 weeks or so. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, but they got plenty more.
They got plenty more. Absolutely. So, all right, next we've got finally here for Monday Night Football, the San Francisco 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings here. Oh, man, this one's ripping out my heartstrings a little bit just because
ripping the heartstrings right out.
I feel like Minnesota can get it done. I'm really ever since that quarterback show, I really felt a different place in
You
my
ha-
heart for
you
Kirk
definitely
Cousins.
have.
I've changed.
You
I
have
don't know what it is.
changed.
I like the guy. I like his personality. I like the way he rolls. I think he's a hard worker, and just I want to do the best for him. But again, Minnesota's just tough. They were able to pull out a victory last week, but defense was a
ugly.
big part of it. San Francisco, I think they've got a bad taste in their mouth. I think they want to try and get back to their winning ways here. It's going to be a close one, tough one in Minnesota, but in a dome, though, I think right now. So it'll
it's
be
in
fine
Minnesota.
for them. So I like the San Francisco 49ers in this one.
Hey, you think the Niners have a little bit of dirt taste in their mouth,
Yeah,
like a little bit of foulness,
a little blood in their mouth, taste in their
I'll
mouth.
tell you right now, the Niners are going to come out with reckless abandonment in this game. They're going to look to make a statement in nationwide TV. Niners, as explosive as they are, and they're getting back most of their weapons this week. They're going to have Trent Williams back. It looks like they're going to get back Christian McCaffrey. Even that's a possibility. And if that happens, in Debo, if that happens. Watch out. Good luck, Minnesota. It was nice knowing you. Kirk, I hope that you're still standing up right after this. But I just don't. I think they're going to be overmatched in this game. And shame on the NFL for scheduling it.
There you go. All right, there we go. That's our picks for the week. We definitely appreciate you guys checking out and playing along with us as well.
Thank you guys for tuning in.
During the whole thing, I was able to put it and compute the competition. So there it is, 56-38 to 60-33. And there we are here. So we'll see what happens after this week. The last couple of weeks have been a little over 500 for us, Joe.
We got a comment in the section here.
Oh,
Mike
Mike
Tackett
Tackett
is
in there.
back again.
He's back.
He said if Rodgers pulls a LeBron and comes back for the pro season fully healed and hungry, watch out. P.S. Fuck LeBron.
Oh, man.
That's awesome. Mike Tackett.
Mike Tackett.
Dropping some knowledge.
Cleveland
and
made and everything,
one of the
man.
OG
F
know-it-alls
LeBron. How
of
about
the
that?
show. Appreciate you.
Watch out. Yeah, and I think so. I mean, that's a great storyline. How about that?
It's awesome.
Them
It would
being
be
there,
incredible.
with Hard Knocks and everything and all
Incredible.
that, and then the redemption song after all this, I think that would be pretty amazing to watch.
Yeah, thanks you guys so much for tuning in. Thanks for all the comments, all the new people that showed up. Thank you guys so much for making this an awesome night. If you're new to the show, and we know that some of you are, do a huge favor for us. Help us out on YouTube. Go over there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, let you guys know when we go live. And of course, you can follow us anywhere with your podcasting
Hashtag
stations.
know-it-all.
Drop the follow there. Bring us along to work. Show us to all your friends. And let's get this thing going.
Yeah, we'll do some show and tell with Football on the Know. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys Sunday for our Sunday preview show. Check it
Sunday
out.
mornings.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday nights for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.